1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Mike and McCarty on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. Shreveport attorney Mike Busada, also the attorney for the Richland Parish Meta Data Center. Now, when we had John Paul Young on, we spoke to him yesterday, and he was talking about his moratorium against data centers. He brought up the Richland Parish Data Center, and soon after that, we heard from Mike taking issue with some things that John Paul Young said. So, Mike, first of all, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing very well. Thanks for joining us this morning. We wanted to give you a chance to explain what you had some problems with.
Well, yeah. Look, I mean, this is not directed towards Commissioner Young. This is something I've heard over and over again, and what you're hearing by different things on social media is that in Richland Parish that they do have problems with the data center, and as somebody that represents the local government in Richland Parish and that works with them, I'm not here to speak in my role as the attorney for the parish, but I can tell you as an attorney for the parish, but I can tell you that in working with them, the atmosphere and the environment in Richland Parish is very supportive of data centers. I was with, about 3 weeks ago, I was with the superintendent of Richland Parish Schools, a group of teachers, the head football coach of Mangum High in Richland, and a bunch of their leaders, community leaders, to celebrate the quadrupling in size of the Meta Data Center.
Wow.
And everybody was there very excited about it because they've seen tremendous benefits. As somebody told me, we now have the ability to keep our children in this parish, and that wasn't an easy option.
And it was already huge.
Already huge, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mike, let me ask you, let me be real clear. You're not paid by Meta. Explain who you work for.
So I represent local governments, throughout the state, and I represent the community side, and I negotiate, and I go back and forth with these companies to try and fight to get the best deal for our local communities and to make sure that we have good things in place and we get a good deal so that we all benefit.
Are you involved in the negotiations here in Caddo Parish or Shreveport?
I was.
Did we get the best deal here?
I think we did. I think we got a phenomenal deal here based on one simple fact. In 2 years, when these data centers are constructed, Stack and Amazon will be the largest taxpayers in the parish of Caddo and in the city of Shreveport, the largest in history. It would take us 40 years to try and build up a company to make them the largest taxpayer. This is going to happen in 2 years.
Mike Busada, local attorney, and you're working with Richland Parish. If you could address the concerns, and we've talked about this before, that people have about data centers, use and locals' rates and water usage. What do you say to those people that are concerned with those and noise problems?
All great questions. And one of the things we looked at when we did the Richland Parish Data Center with Meta, this was one of the first times in the country because we saw the issue with electricity that you hear about in other parts of the country. And so under the leadership of the governor and local officials, we started a new paradigm. We said no longer will ratepayers be responsible for subsidizing building the new electric transmission and generation. And so in that deal, it was one of the first in the country that requires that the companies build out their new generation facilities. And so what happens is they build out the new facilities, but then they're also required to pay into the system that maintains all of our existing facilities, that maintain all the power lines, that maintain all the crews that cut the trees and do all the things that keep the grid stronger. So we're getting additional help from them. They're paying into that system where they weren't before. And as you know, we've seen a lot of power outages. When these companies come in, they spend a lot of money upgrading the system because they cannot sustain a power outage. And so you can't just turn the power off for one company and not another. We're all in the boat together, and when they're here, they're going to make sure that our power's not going out.
Mike Busada, attorney, let me ask you this, because this is something that the secrecy is what is troubling most people. And now our Public Service Commission voted 3-1 to allow Meta to keep details about the Richland Parish data center secret. Why? Why does it have to be a secret still?
Yeah, look, I mean, I have not followed that specific thing closely. I have seen some of the reports. I can tell you that some of the things that people are saying are being kept secret, like their jobs numbers and all of those things. It's not secret. I mean, all that information is filed with the Louisiana Workforce Commission. It's filed with the parish as part of the incentive package. That data is there. It just doesn't go to the Public Service Commission because that's not what the Public Service Commission does. So I think that part of that story is misleading in the fact that, yes, the PSC is not going to require them to provide employment data, just like they wouldn't require any private business to. But that data does go to multiple agencies in the state, and we have it.
Mm-hmm. Are you convinced, and let's take you inside the Caddo Parish meeting room yesterday, where a bunch of folks spoke hoping for a moratorium on data centers, in the parish. Is that a good move? Does that send the wrong message to business?
Yes.
At the end of the day, one of the things I've learned in being in economic development for 20 years is when you start to say you're against a particular business, the business community as a whole, all these corporate headquarters are looking to where they invest, like Trader Joe's. We always talk about we want a Trader Joe's. The CEO of Trader Joe's doesn't hear, well, this is just data centers. They want to determine what businesses win and what businesses lose, and it comes across as anti-business. I know that's not the intent of people, but that's been my experience, is that when you have a government that wants to get in and regulate private businesses to that degree, whether or not it's this type of business or that type of business, that all gets lost on the decision makers that are deciding where to invest their capital.
And that's my concern is because I am so pro economic development, and when we raise issues like this, it's like you say, it's a red flag to business CEOs that are looking to redevelop in other areas.
Well, and think about this. The sales tax revenue in Richland Parish tripled over the last year. That's why they were able to give teachers bonuses of up to $50,000 per teacher this past year. They're able to build roads and infrastructure that were never possible before, build new schools. I mean, all of these things that we desperately need in the Shreveport-Bossier area. I mean, we talk about, well, we wish we had more of this and more of that, that all costs money. It costs money to hire more people to pick up trash. It costs money to hire more police officers. And right now, if we do that, either you and I, the taxpayers, have to foot 100% of the bill, or we can recruit companies in who will share that burden with us and will share it at a much higher level. I would rather bring in others to help with it as opposed to me having to bear the whole burden.
Attorney Mike Busada, thanks for sharing your perspective. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You bet.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you soon. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, didn't sleep well. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Mikey's off today. Scott Hughes is in studio. Ruben's here. Y'all are in charge.
And you got a morning full of guests.
We have
it
a
is
busy
easy
morning.
to co-host when you line up what you got today.
Yes. I want to talk about two things, and we don't have confirmation yet. I have confirmation through my sources that can't go on, official yet, but we're seeing it a lot on social media. A lot of people are talking about it, and we will have a guest tomorrow, we hope, to talk about it. A possible case of, and I don't want to scare people, so I don't know how to say this, but a possible case of brain-eating amoeba
It's
locally.
a waterborne virus.
Right.
Nobody should panic. It's very
No.
rare. It's very likely a one-off, but
Yes.
there is a possible case in the larger community, not even the Shreveport
right.
Bossier area directly.
Right. So we're working on that. Again, the folks are not confirming nor denying at this point, is what I'm told.
And they should be very sure before they make this
Right, they
announcement,
absolutely.
as we should too.
But my problem is we're waiting on the state health department. Everybody is saying they're going to handle it. State health department's going to handle it. They're going to handle it.
And they've not been very forthcoming lately.
They've not.
If you listen to this show, you've listened to any media, you're very used to announcements by this. And I'll use this example. You're very used to an announcement. A case of West Nile has been discovered in East Baton Rouge Parish.
Mm-hmm.
2 cases of COVID were discovered in French Quarter. That was a very early one back when that happened.
Sure.
We're not seeing any announcements like that, health announcements out of the Department of Health. And
Why? Why are they being secretive? Why are they being slow to act? What's going on?
I want to be careful because I think neither you nor I have any official determination, but we've had a change in personnel at the top in the federal government, and we've had a change of personnel in the state government. We reorganized. We have a surgeon general now.
Sure.
And I just don't think that what used to be the health system is allowed to make reporting. I think everything comes out of Baton Rouge. I'll say it like that.
Okay. Well, we are working on that story. It's not that we don't know about it. We do know about it. We have heard the reports. We have gotten. I have talked to three medical professionals that can't go on the record or anything at this point to talk about case or anything like that.
And member of my friends and family circle, etc. I know that whatever it is real because we know people who know people that know the family. Yes.
Right.
And so I don't know I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know the diagnosis, but I know that there is a person in the hospital and it is real.
Yes, it is. It is a real case, and we are awaiting. And to be quite honest, I commend the local hospital officials because they're like, this is on the state health department. They need to be. They're the reporting agent. We're waiting on them.
And my appreciation would be a private hospital, a private physician, and I'm not a doctor, but they have a very probably legal obligation to report to the state.
Absolutely.
They are not going to report publicly. That's not their job.
Right.
They have a legal obligation to report certain types of cases, just like child welfare cases in another situation. A teacher, a social worker has an obligation, a requirement to report abuse. They're
Right.
required to report certain cases to the state, and now we wait for the state.
And I would think the state would have an obligation to report something like this to the public to let us know that it's there. And here are the things to be careful about.
Public health policy.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And right now, you and I, to be honest, we're questioning it a little bit because you and I both are aware that there's been for really over a year now, there's probably been a very movement within the state quietly that we're not seeing the kind of announcements, and I'll be fair, or promotion. We used to see promotion of certain health care.
Like we're doing shots for tots or whatever, yeah.
You don't report on that anymore because the state's not putting anything out.
They're not sending it. And it's crickets. And it's disappointing because this is something people need to know about. Anyway, as we get more information on that, we will share it. We're waiting on the official word, because you got to make sure that it's all.
So you don't have anybody with an MD behind their name this morning?
Not today.
But you got a lot of other people going to
Yes.
call in. I think you got Crackman.
Chris Crackman's
We got
coming on.
Crackman coming.
Yes, he is. And he's going to talk about data centers. Justin Dixon on the big Amazon announcement, another $6 billion in our area.
He's the NLEP guy, and right now he is the $1 billion baby.
Oh, he is dancing a jig today. And when we come back in about 10 minutes, a monster endorsement in the mayor's race. I can't wait to hear your take on that one.
Somebody endorsed the incumbent mayor, Tom Arsenault? Somebody endorsed Tammy Phelps?
No.
Maybe the front runner on the... Oh, one of the other candidates.
Yeah, wait till you hear about this.
Is there a storm of brewing?
There might be a storm of brewing. Absolutely. That is on the way right here. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back today, and I'm a little disappointed in a couple of things. When we come back, we're going to talk about politics, but real quick segment here. I'm a little disappointed in a couple of things with regard to LSU. The first is the preseason polls put us at number 11.
Oh, LSU football.
LSU football, number 11.
Fair.
I wanted to be in the top 10.
What's LSU got?
Lane Kiffin. Best portal.
What position is Lane playing? Is he a Heisman favorite?
No.
Okay. I think 11's fair.
Okay.
Especially when you consider LSU opens against Clemson. That's going to be a good marquee test game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's week 3. We have to go to the Grove at Ole Miss, who's a top 10 team. I'll say this. LSU, if they're good, they'll finish number 1 in the country with the schedule they have.
Ooh, yeah, they have a tough schedule.
If they're bad.
They play Alabama and then Texas back-to-back.
Yes. We also we have A&M.
Yep.
We got Arkansas in there. It is LSU has one of the toughest schedules in the country. If they good, they're going to be top 5.
The other thing I'm disappointed in is the new listing from niche.com on the top party schools in the nation. Tulane is number 3 in the country behind UC Santa Barbara and Florida State. Tulane is 3rd. LSU gets beat by Tulane for party schools. What the heck has gone wrong?
Well, you can only have number 1 so long. In fairness, Florida State is a fabulous party school. They're always on the list. And let's give Tulane some game. Tulane has always been a top-ranked party school because where it's located. I mean, New Orleans.
It's a party city.
You're not in the quarter. You know where Tulane is.
Right,
it's
sure.
But it's right there, trolley ride away, and it's a fun school. I think LSU has cracked down a little bit. And let's be fair, and probably should. If your party scene is derived a lot by your fraternity system, there's been a lot of pressure on the sorority fraternity system to really ramp down a little bit.
Yes.
And so LSU's a huge spread out, massive school. But no, Lane's there. I mean, those two are going to go hand in hand.
You got a point. When we come back, a big endorsement in the mayor's race. I want Scott's opinion and thoughts on that. That is next, right here on KEEL.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back to talk politics with political analyst. You're going to put your analyst hat on now, Scott Hughes.
And friend of the show. That's my official title on
friend
my
of
union.
Mine. You're like our door dasher. You bring coffee and breakfast and all that.
Well, Ruben, that's part of my deal with Ruben is to try to keep you caffeinated. You know.
I forgot. Y'all had a little silent behind the scenes. Yeah, you got a point. I got to my desk this morning and I started going through my email and I see an email from Stormy Gage Watts. And it is, maybe last night I was looking, because I sent it to you last night. It was an endorsement of her candidacy for mayor by Sheriff Henry Whitehorn. And I thought, wow, that's a pretty big deal. In the grand scheme of things, this is a big deal, 10 to 1. This won't matter.
And just to be official, what it says is, it says members of the media, so this was formally sent out, and it says Sheriff Henry Whitehorn has released a statement. So this is not just her campaign saying he endorsed us.
Right.
This is apparently an official statement from the sheriff saying he endorsed her, which I know our listeners may go, what's the difference? That is a big difference in politics.
Right. On the 1 to 10 scale, being 10, this is a huge deal. To 1, won't make a difference. Where is that?
I think it's a 10, to be honest.
Really?
It's, let's be honest. And I said it was a great endorsement when Sam Jenkins endorsed Tammy Phelps.
Yes.
Great endorsement. That's a 2. Okay?
Really?
Are you shocked that Sam Jenkins endorsed Tammy Phelps?
No, I wasn't shocked.
No, that is the normal play. I would expect a lot of the Democratic apparatus in town to endorse what many of us think will be the front runner, Tammy Phelps, on the Democratic side. This is the opposite. I think a lot of us are watching Stormy's campaign, and we were we were surprised she announced it all. B, we were really surprised she filed. Remember, she didn't file to the last day.
Right.
There was a lot of speculation. Does she file? There's still speculation. Does she stay in the race?
Yes.
Because political handicappers like me look at it and don't see a path for her. We think that all that her candidacy is doing is messing the race up. We may be wrong. Who knows? But when you tell me the sheriff, one of the 3 or 4 arguably top politicians in this region, not just Caddo, but Caddo Sheriff's a huge position. You tell me they endorse what we don't see as the front runner, that's huge political news.
And that, for me, it makes me question, why does Sheriff Whitehorn do that? If everybody in town is saying she doesn't have a chance, is he doing it to boost her up so maybe she does have a chance? Is that his goal? Maybe to move her ahead of Tammy Phelps in the minds of folks?
I don't know. And again, not to get into it, because I'm going to go on the record and say that Stormy Gates Watch meets the residency requirement, because that's such a low bar you can trip over it in Shreveport.
Does she?
But apparently she claimed a residency at her mother-in-law's house or mother's house. I'm not exactly sure which one, according to sources, on the day she filed, that she did not live in town, so to say, to be mayor of Shreveport, but she did move into town at least enough, not living in a coffin, to reference past races.
Right.
But it's very similar. And so there's going to be problems around this campaign. And to see, and I'm going to be fair, we don't hear much from Henry politically.
No.
Okay, but he's there. He's the sheriff.
So why is he doing this?
I mean, he's been quiet for basically a year politically.
Why is he? What's his motivation to do this, to get in the mayor's race?
You know what? I often am very seldom at a loss for words. And I'm going to tell you, when you sent me this last night and now the radio live, I'm kind of at a loss for words. This is one where I want to be careful when I say, because it does make me step back and say, have I missed something here? Is there something I'm not seeing in this race with all my sources and people I talk to? And this is one that maybe somebody needs to put a microphone in Sheriff Whitehorn's face and say, give us an explanation. Maybe we're not seeing what you're seeing, Sheriff.
Are they members of the same church? Are they distant cousins? I mean, do we know any kind of connection?
The little I heard was that he believes that she's been supportive of law enforcement, for whatever that means. And apparently, I guess he feels he could work very well with her. That's obviously, maybe they're friends. I don't know. So I want to just pause as the analyst there and say, I'm just going to have to wait and get more information to analyze, because this makes no sense to me on the surface.
Interesting. Caddo Parish Commissioner Chris Crackman is going to join us at about 10 minutes after the top of the hour. He's going to talk about data centers and his concerns for his area. The State Line Road folks are not happy. He's going to express what they're worried about. And we'll also ask him about the added investment of another $6 billion headed our way. All that is coming up right here on KEEL.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
I'm kind of today feeling like a get off my lawn, old man. And help me if I'm wrong.
No, you're a get off my lawn, old man.
I really wanted to go to the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association
It's
meeting.
always one of the best places to go.
They have good guests. Last night they were having the district attorney candidates, and I thought...
Now, there were several forums last night. I know where you're headed with this. And to be fair, and I don't know who attended all of them. There was a big one at Huntington High School, I think.
Okay.
And so there were several forums, because I know where you're going.
Right.
And I share your get off my lawn.
They invited the district attorney candidates, and I saw this posted more than a month ago. So they had set these, because they have a schedule for the next few meetings, who's going to be there.
And my understanding is they originally were trying to get the Senate candidates, the U.S. Senate candidates last night. Broadmoor does a series of these, and that Jamie Davis and Letlow did not work out. So they then went to the next major race on the ballot, and they were able to do this.
And they invited the district attorney candidates, and I don't know. I know Alan Seabaugh showed up. I believe Pat Gilley was there. I'm not sure if the other woman who qualified,
Lauren Ray Anderson.
I'm not sure if she was there. Somebody text me.
I saw Pat on TV, so I know she was there.
And James Stewart did not show up, but he sent one of his assistant DAs, Ross Owen, was there in
who you've had on radio before.
Yes, in his stead, and he's a great guy. But in the grand scheme of politics, I don't think you give a stage to somebody who's not in the race. If somebody doesn't show up, I mean, if you would have done the Cassidy race with Letlow and Fleming, and Letlow decided to send a surrogate in there to do the
governor.
Yeah, the governor's going to speak for Julia Letlow.
Apparently her surrogate, or Donald Trump. Those were her two surrogates.
She's going to send one of them in to speak for her. I just don't think that's right. I think if the candidate's not there, he doesn't get the time. He or she doesn't get the time. Am I wrong?
No, you and I agree on this. I tend to agree. We're not electing the surrogates. We're electing the candidates.
That's who I want to hear.
Yeah, but to be fair, and as you and I have talked about briefly before on air about this, off air about this, that was my one thought that quickly came back. There were several events last night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how they conflicted. I do know I did see a lot of video. I'm not saying I saw James Stewart at the other one, but I know there was a big event over at Huntington High School, Meet the Candidates Forum.
Right.
And but no, I agree. I think it's okay to send somebody, but I don't think you let that person answer for the candidate.
Right.
If the time comes, you would say, we're sorry that candidate A cannot be here. The candidate's spouse is here. The candidate's law partner, whatever it is.
Sure.
If you have questions, you can go over there and visit with them.
Right. I
just don't like it when you let someone answer the question for this, for the candidate.
Lauren was not there. I just got a text. Alan Seball was there. I just don't like now, unless maybe James Stewart had confirmed and was planning to be there, and then there's an emergency. He had a medical issue. Something happened in the family.
Well, this is where I'm a purist. I still don't think you let someone speak for the candidate. It's one thing to say, I gave you the example off air about our Congressman Mike Johnson. I know he can't be at everything. He's in Washington.
Sure.
So regularly someone from Mike Johnson's office appears. And that's one thing to say where we recognize this person from Mike Johnson's office. And they may say the speaker brings you greetings. To have that person answer a question on behalf of Mike Johnson, I don't think is allowed. And I'll hold the same standard in these forums.
I also got a text that James Stewart was at the Huntington event. So he perhaps already committed to the Huntington event when Broadmoor changed their plan.
That's fine.
Legit.
And that's legit. I draw the line at answering questions for the candidate.
Yes. Yeah. Good point. Coming up, Chris Crackman, Caddo Parish Commissioner. He's going to join us about 10 past the hour.
He's always got thoughts.
Oh, he's got a lot of thoughts today, and he will share them, and he will be on the radio as a Caddo Parish Commissioner. I'm just putting out there for all the legal people. He's joining us in his stead as a Caddo Parish Commissioner.
He's bringing his lawyer?
Yeah. It might be. You never know. That's coming up right here on KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. Mike is out today. Scott Hughes is in for Mike, and we have a special guest on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, Caddo Parish Commissioner Chris Crackman, acting as a Caddo Parish Commissioner. Just going to throw that out there today. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Aaron Scott. I appreciate the clarification on that.
Good morning, Commissioner Crackman.
It's going to be our little inside joke forever, as you well know. You have been, folks are saying you've been rallying against data centers. I know you want to clear that up. Are you against data centers?
No, I never said that. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure nobody from State Line Road has said that.
Mm-hmm. Your concern is for those folks that live on State Line Road whose lives are currently being disrupted, as they will say. Tell me what's going on up there for those folks who live in your district.
Well, they've had construction going on for several months. I mean, they started tree clearing before the announcement was even made by the governor. And so, I mean, it's the real deal out there. They have backhoes going, from, I guess some days from 4 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. So, I mean, they've got it going. There's trucks up and down State Line Road like you've never seen before.
And that's a rural area. Some of those folks have lived there for decades, and it's been a quiet rural area until now.
Absolutely. And, it's like I said the other night, you have one family out there, the Bison family, that's been out there for 119 years out in the middle of the woods. They, that's their family legacy plot. They have a family cemetery that's an eighth of a mile up the road. I mean, they've been there for a very, very long time, not expecting anything like this. And so, my job, of course, is not only to boost economic development and welcome jobs and all this other. I also have to, advocate for the few folks that are out there too.
And Chris, and I appreciate that, because as I've watched this debate, I see three distinct areas of concern. One is what I'll say is I don't like data centers or billionaires. That's there. There are those people. There seems to be another group of people that doesn't like government, and especially the NDAs. And we can have that conversation. That's fair. But there's this third area. I think it's who you're representing. It's the actual physical impact of building something in a community. And I think that has exposed not land use, not zoning, but just reality of construction. What does the parish have out in the unincorporated area to control this? Can somebody run a construction yard 24 hours a day? What rule or law have y'all found? Because I think that's what your people are complaining about, that they just don't want the backhoe at 3:30 in the morning, nor would I.
Right, sure. And you know, what we have on the books is we have a decibel level that I think I know from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., it's 55 decibels. And then from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., it's 50 decibels. And so, but they can run around the clock as long as they stay below that level. However, I don't think the beeping of a backhoe is above 55 or 50 decibels, but it's constant. You know, it's kind of like whenever you get up on the weekend and you have that one busybody neighbor that gets up at 5 a.m. to cut his grass. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not over 50 decibels, but it does, you know, it makes your patience itch a little bit, you know. And so that's what these guys are dealing with. You know, I want to say, you know, I saw where Mr. Bison had posted a video this morning where a generator was running at midnight last night.
There's been a moratorium proposed by John Paul Young on any new data centers. It doesn't look like the commission's going to pass that, even not in resolution form, which the attorney said you couldn't do, probably not in ordinance form. There's discussion that you couldn't even do it unless you did a master plan, a study for a master plan. Would you support that master plan for the rural parts of Caddo Parish?
No, I wouldn't, and I don't support zoning out there. Planning maybe, but not zoning. The master plan does encompass the entire parish. It just doesn't hardly mention rural Caddo Parish because there isn't planning and zoning. But I do think it's important to note that we do have police powers where it concerns the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens out there. It's no different than the property standards we have. And you know, it's curious to me, you know, I've gone rounds with our attorney and our former assistant attorney, Bernstein, about this very thing. Is, you know, we can control things by ordinance. And, you know, back whenever we started talking about this, or I started talking about this in December, it was said to be premature. We don't even know what this is. We don't know it's coming. Well, I don't think that's true. I don't think everybody on our body was clueless about this project. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a tax initiative that came up on December 4th. But, you know, the biggest thing that I came on to talk about is, the word misinformation. I am so tired of being, you know, accused of spreading misinformation and, you know, almost like it's a conspiracy, like I'm going out here and warning people that if you're next to this data center, it might make your babies born naked.
You're being called a fearmongerer by some.
Right. And I heard that on this show yesterday, you know, a fearmonger. You know, I would appreciate some of these folks to, you know, prove it. Where have I fear-mongered? Where have I put out any misinformation? Where have I put out anything other than the concern for the few citizens that are out there? That is a deep concern of mine. And the fact that we're ignoring that we have police powers really irks me, because this could have been mitigated long ago. But I fear, and I could be wrong, I fear that NDAs held people back from saying that they knew about this project, to where we could have put something in place to mitigate these issues for these folks.
Well, and Chris, I want to make it clear, I hear you, because that was my point a second ago. As I've watched these debates from afar, I've clearly seen those three camps. People that are just against data centers and what they represent, people that are concerned about the NDAs, and now this third area of, okay, they're coming, let's deal with the physical reality of noise and construction and traffic. And I'm afraid that those citizens who, in my opinion, are the most affected. If you live in the shadow of one of these, you are going to be affected. I've been over to Richland Parish. I've seen what's going on. I have realtor friends over there. And I think that we are not hearing that crowd right now, because the noise of the other two crowds is so loud, trying to just stop them, that we're not actually paying attention to the people that are saying, we're not necessarily opposed to them, but give us some decency, give us some ability to sleep. And so on the police powers, Chris, Who would enforce those? Would that be the sheriff in the rural part? What's your understanding?
Sure. It would be the sheriff in correlation with the Caddo Parish Commission. But, you know, and the narrative that I have heard this week overwhelmingly is that, you know, this is a temporary nuisance for the greater good. Well, I mean, you know, whenever we talk about or we compare this to like frac units, you know, frac units run for 3 to 4 weeks. And so in some cases, it's unbearable sound. We're talking about a construction site that admittedly is going to run 5 to 7 years, 10 years at the most. That is not temporary. That is a huge issue for those people.
One more thing before we let you go in our last minute. We did get good news, some would say, from Amazon yesterday in that they've bumped up their investment locally from $12 billion to $18 billion, and it means more jobs. Do you feel good about that they are going to pump more money in our area?
I don't know how to feel about it either way because, look, until we promulgate rules for these specific things, we're going to see them grow. They're going to run as fast as they can to build as many of these things as they can, so long as we're rolling out the red carpet. And I know people want to talk about Calumet and KCS. Listen, Calumet, that place has been there since 1920. It was acquired in 2001. KCS was dedicated in 1950. So the question I have is, what came first, the railroad or President Young? You know, I mean, let's get real about this. This is a real issue. We do need mitigation. The assistant administrator of the parish told me Monday night after the meeting that STAC has submitted a noise mitigation plan. Well, by God, I want to see it. I want to address these issues. I'm tired of all the fear-mongering and all the talking points and all that when all I'm doing is my job.
Chris Crackman, Caddo Parish Commissioner. Thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank y'all.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, we're back. I need you to put on another hat that you have that you don't wear it very often, but you have
I don't wear
it.
any hats. I never wear a hat.
I want you to put on your Robert's Rules of Order hat.
Oh, okay.
Because you are an expert with regard to that.
It's like a banker's visor.
And am I wrong when I was watching the Caddo Commission the other day?
This is what you're going to ask me some more math than Robert's Rules. But
yeah,
let's do it. Let's do it. Math on the radio.
Math on the radio is always fun. There's 11 people there at the commission meeting.
There's 12 on the commission.
12.
One is absent.
One is
there's
absent.
only 11. That is a quorum, first of all, is a majority. So this is a quorum.
Yeah, exactly.
But when one is absent, you go with the number of votes cast.
Yes, when you're counting how many win and lose.
Yes.
Now, if you need a 2/3 majority of 11,
it's 11 times 0.6666667, whatever you want to do.
It comes out to 7.33333.
It's more than 7.
It's more than 7.
It's not a whole number.
Right.
12 times 0.6666, 2/3 is a whole number.
Yep.
It's 8.
8. Okay. So if you have a measure that you're voting on that needs 2/3.
Needs 2/3. Motion to call the question.
Which is, we want to vote, we're going to stop debate, we're going to vote.
And so a motion to call the question is, in theory, there's a majority of us, a super majority of us, that are tired of this. We got the votes to move on.
Let's vote.
That's why it's 2/3. We have the votes to move on. And you're not voting on the issue. You're just voting to vote on the issue.
So shut
you're
everybody
stopping
up.
Conversation. Yep. Because it's quelling debate, it should require 2/3 vote.
Okay. 7 voted to call for the question, which means stop debate.
Of 11.
4 voted no.
That's correct.
On call for the question. So did
the
the
motion
call
should have failed.
But the attorney for the parish ruled it passed.
I don't like the question attorneys. As I say many times, I am not an attorney. I am a kind of registered parliamentarian. I do it for several groups. I've chaired statewide commissions for years. 7, and it's just math. That's why I don't want to question the attorney's legal opinion, but just do math. 7 is not 2/3 of 11.
But some are saying if you have under a half, like 7 1/3, as opposed to 7 1/2, that you roll the number down to the 7.
That's not 2/3. That would be 64.5%. That's not 66. It's just, so again, I don't want to question the legal opinion of the attorney because maybe there's some obscure law in the rules of this body that I don't know. Maybe they agree. But if you ask me Robert's rules, and then you further ask me math.
Yep.
And I joke all the time. My father, Colonel Hughes, was later a math teacher for Louisiana Tech for years. He's the one that told me don't do math on the radio.
Yes.
Don't do math in public.
Exactly.
But this is why. Because it is math.
Right.
And any human being, and a fourth grader can do the math problem.
And so you could say the attorney possibly made a mistake. And she needs to come back and say, yes, I made a mistake, because the precedent could be set.
I'm going to say the math ain't mathin'.
The math ain't mathin', and it wasn't a big issue. It's not a big issue that matters. But when it does matter, and you say 7 votes is 2/3, I'm going to say, whoa.
And
it did not pass.
The reason it matters is because that motion, if approved, then leads to another motion.
Yes.
And now in theory, it sets up a potential challenge if somebody wants to challenge the next vote.
Right.
You then went to do this, and that vote is void because of the bad vote that came before it.
Yeah.
And that's what you never want to be as a political body.
Right.
You want everything to stand up. And what's odd here, Aaron, especially since they clearly had the votes to move on. They clearly, the intent is, let's stop talking and vote. And then there was no challenge on the next vote. Once the vote's taken, they had the votes to do the motion.
Right.
You just hate to give a technical issue when the math ain't mathin'.
Anyway, I was very worried when I saw that. I went, I think that's a mistake, but we'll see. I don't know. LSU's going to lose 2 football games this year.
Blasphemy.
When we come back, I'm going to tell you which ones, and I'm going to see what Scott thinks about that. That's next, right here on KEEL.
Back with McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
You're going to be mad at me now, aren't you?
Why?
When I start talking about what games LSU's going to lose. You don't like that. You don't like that, do you?
It's such a negativity to go in talking about what games are going to lose.
Well, we're preseason poll. We're number 11.
Which I said was fair.
Okay.
You think is low.
Yeah, ESPN predicts LSU to finish 4th in the conference behind Georgia, A&M, and Texas. I think that's horrid. I don't like that.
That gets you in the playoffs.
Yeah, that'll get you in the playoffs.
Playoffs. We're talking
playoffs. Yeah,
yeah. That's the whole key.
A lot of people are worried about Clemson. Clemson's not the same Clemson anymore.
September 5th, Clemson comes to the real Death Valley.
And I think we easily beat Clemson. I don't
it's a
think
hot ticket. I'm told you can't get one to the game. I think LSU wins.
LSU's going to easily win that one. I don't think that's a problem. Then it's Louisiana Tech.
The next week, they stay at home. Tech comes to town. They crush Tech. Sorry, Bulldog fans.
Yeah.
And let me say this. I think Tech's going to have a good season. We're not talking about Tech today.
Right.
They're going to have a good season. This is not going to be a good game for Tech.
Then the big game everyone's talking about. I think this is the football ticket of the year.
This is where game day is going to book it now. Game day is going to be at the Grove.
Yep.
This is a $2,000 ticket. Because Ole Miss is a small stadium.
At Ole Miss in Oxford. Lane Kiffin's old stomping grounds. I mean, they're going to throw all kind of stuff at him. I think we win that game.
I think we win that game, too. My vision for that game, if you've ever seen the Denzel Washington movie, Remember the Titans, I think it's going to get to that moment where he looks down and says, run it up, Ray, leave no doubt. I think Kiffin wants to go in there and hang 60 on Ole Miss.
Crush them? Oh,
yes,
man.
I think that's what he wants to do.
Okay.
We'll see what kind of talent he has.
Then it's A&M.
Then LSU comes home. The key is they come home.
Yep.
After going on the road, they come home to play A&M. If they have won the Ole Miss game, if they are 3-0,
going to be on a high.
They roll at A&M.
They roll. And then they beat McNeese.
Then they get the Cowboys at home. McNeese on October the 3rd. They crush McNeese.
Then crush Kentucky the next week.
Then they go on the road to play at Kentucky. They beat Kentucky. No bluegrass miracle needed. They crush Kentucky.
I think they beat Mississippi State the next week.
They come home against State, and they have a great record against Mississippi State. They beat Mississippi State at home easily.
The next one is Auburn.
They go on the road to Auburn. And remember, we're getting in the area now that you and I kind of agree. If they win Ole Miss, we kind of agree they are probably number 2 in the nation.
They're on a roll.
At this point, they're looking 8-0. At this point, they're at Auburn. They crush Auburn.
So then they'll move 8-0 on the year. And then
the season starts.
They have a week off.
Which I hate. They always take the stupid week off.
They get cold.
They take the week off. They take off. LSU takes off Halloween. It's a Halloween game.
I know.
They ought to be playing Ole Miss on Halloween.
I agree.
But they take Halloween off, which makes no sense. and then they stay at home and they play Alabama.
Alabama, the Crimson Tide come rolling in, and they roll over the Tigers. We fall to 8-1.
You think Alabama beats the Tigers?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to say this. I think if we get to that point where you and I think we are, I think we beat Bama at home.
Woo!
Remember, who else did Lane Kiffin coach for?
Alabama.
Who's the other team he wants to beat more than life itself?
Alabama.
And
Yeah.
I don't know that Alabama is as good as people think they are this year.
I think you might be right. Then the following weekend, who put
This
this
is the
stupid
game.
schedule together?
This is the
huge.
game, and I have tickets to this game.
Do you?
Yes.
LSU, Texas.
Texas.
Texas is picked to win it all, possibly
The
this year.
Manning kid comes home.
Yep, back home. I think we
We
lose this
stick
one
their
too.
band in the upper deck, if you remember. This game has a lot of get even.
We're going to lose this one.
This is the one people are looking at. This is the other one people think that, because remember, we think that game day is going to, I think game day may be at the Clemson game. Someone told me game day may
Okay.
open at LSU.
Cool.
This is the other one they think game day comes back to, is this game, Texas LSU. This could be a top, at this point, 2 top 3 teams playing, to be honest.
So we're 8-2. Then we hit the road to Tennessee. We win that one.
We go to Knoxville, play Tennessee. That should be a win. Who's the other team, Lane Kiffin? Didn't he coach for Tennessee, too?
Yeah, you're right.
He didn't look good in orange.
And then we wrap it up with Arkansas, and we go to 10-2 on the season.
So you think we're going to lose Alabama and Texas?
Texas.
You think we're going to have a great season, lose back-to-back, and then be 10-2, and probably at your 10-2, we probably limp into the playoffs.
Yep. I don't
12
think we
teams get in.
I don't think we make the SEC championship game, but I think we make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, you won't be punished for losing to those 2 teams late.
Right.
You'll still be in the top 10, top 12.
Won't have to play Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'm good with that.
I do think that LSU, I think they lose one game. I think they win one of those 2 personally.
Okay. Interesting. I'm excited. It's getting here close, sooner than we think.
And I think as an LSU fan, I think the fair expectation is, does LSU make the playoffs? Not do we win a national championship, do we make the playoffs this year?
Yes, absolutely.
I think we do.
Got to talk a little medical news that is circulating in town. When we come back, we'll try to unravel it. Lots of stuff not confirmed, but we'll tell you what we know when we come back right here. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, we are back, and I don't really know how to approach this, but I'm waiting on the state health department to officially put out a statement, which I'm told is imminent. It is supposed to be coming about a possible positive case in our area, in the Shreveport-Bossier area, of a brain-eating amoeba case.
I believe it's a kind of really rare waterborne disease. Mm-hmm. But don't panic. I mean, no one should panic.
Nobody should panic.
We don't want to overplay this. We are aware of a possible case.
Right, and the person's being treated and is expected to be okay.
And by water, let me clarify that. By water, we mean like a lake. We don't mean drinking water.
Right,
we mean
it's not drinking
in
water.
a lake. You normally get this by swimming in a lake.
And you may have an open sore or something like that. So that's what this is. Again, I've confirmed it through a couple of sources. Nobody local can talk about it yet. They are waiting the state health department to take the lead and put out the information about this particular. Now, we're not going to know a name, and we're not going to know,
You never do.
Right.
You normally in this case, it's called public health. You normally in this case here, there has been a reported case of West Nile virus in East Baton Rouge Parish. And
Yes.
that's the public health notice.
That's probably
We're looking
about.
for that for whatever this is in North Louisiana.
Will they connect it to a particular body of water, do you think, or no?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Okay.
That you normally see 2 things. You normally see the public health warning or notice.
Sure.
There has been a case of X found in this parish. You normally
Right.
see that.
Right.
Then the second part is if their investigation can confirm a source, they will then often let you know that as a public health advisory.
Right.
You may be advised not to go in this water, this body of water. But that's the part that's a little more tricky, because how do you confirm that?
Yes,
You don't
exactly.
want to scare people.
No, and I'm not doing this today to scare people, but I do know there have been lots of reports.
It's on social media.
Yes.
Let's say this. I'm fairly confident there is a person in the hospital. I have
Yes.
friends of friends kind of deal that know the person, and this is a real case.
Right. And I have talked to several people in the medical community who have told me, yes, it is a real case, but you cannot use me as your source because I have to wait until the state health department issues the report, which we are awaiting. I'm going to send them some emails this morning and say, hey, we need this info.
And to clarify for our listeners, that's why you and I are talking about it.
Right.
Because to us, it's a public health situation.
Sure.
And that's part of what you've always done in your reporting. That's what news people do. But the other, almost the larger story to us, I hate to make this the story as the analyst over here, but almost the larger story to us is, are we getting timely updates from the state? I'll say it. Are we getting timely updates from DHH?
Yes.
Because many of us have noticed over the last year or so that there's been a huge change in public health policy. We are not getting the notices when these things happen.
Right.
Or they're coming much later than they used to. And people say, oh, Scott, that's whatever. Well, that's why we're seeing outbreaks across the country. Normally when you see something, you're told immediately there's a case or two. We're not finding out sometimes in other parts of the country, not Louisiana yet, but other parts of the country, you're not finding out till they hit 100 cases or this. Or
Right.
And then by then it's already spreading.
Well, we'll keep you posted. We hope to get an information from the Department of Health sometime today, and we'll keep you posted. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
More breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I want your opinion on something we talked about yesterday with Ruben and Mike. Mike is out today, but Scott Hughes is in.
I side with Ruben.
Do you?
Oh, wait, I should wait for the question, right? Okay.
Yeah, maybe you should. Do you have like candies or things that you think they just should stop making these things? They're just disgusting. We shouldn't eat them anymore.
Candies?
Top of my list is Peeps.
Peeps. Oh, yeah, you beat me to it. Thank you. I don't understand Peeps.
Who eats these Peeps? Everybody I talk to hates them.
They're so gross.
Why do people buy them?
I don't get Peeps.
Who would even give that to their children? It's pure sugar.
You might as well just take the bag of sugar and dump it right in your mouth.
Yeah, and the texture of it's gushy.
Yeah.
It's just not pleasant at all.
Not a Peeps fan.
Okay.
I don't like circus peanuts either.
Circus peanuts.
The orange thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I get you.
They're marshmallowy Peep-like.
Yeah, kind of like that, and the texture is weird.
You know the thing I don't like, and you get it at Halloween, no other time of the year, is those black and orange candies. They're wrapped in black and orange paper.
Oh, they're like taffy. Yeah,
taffy sort. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
and we used to get those in our Halloween bucket, and my brothers and I used to trade our candy. Those had zero value.
No value. No.
Nobody wanted them. So if you got a pile of those, you weren't any good. We could trade chocolate. I mean, you could trade chocolate. They were good. The other thing I don't like, and I don't, Mike was like, what on earth is wrong with you? Fig Newtons.
Oh, Fig Newtons are okay.
No.
I'm good with Fig Newtons.
I'm not choosing violence over Fig Newtons. Which you apparently are, but I'm okay with Fig. I actually went through a Fig Newton phase where I would keep some around and I'd get one or two and they'd quell that little need for food. And I'm okay with apple Fig Newtons. You ever had those?
No.
Yeah, they have different Newtons.
Oh my God, they're good.
Strawberry Newtons. They've got all kinds.
Okay. And now they're messing up Oreos. And I have a friend who's obsessed with the Halloween Oreos. They have the orange cream in the middle.
Oreos, there were only 3 acceptable Oreos.
Okay.
There's the original Oreo.
Okay, that's my cookie. Okay.
Then there was the genius of the double stuff Oreo.
No.
Okay,
no.
so double stuff.
Double stuff's got to go.
And then I do have to say I do approve the golden Oreo when they changed the black to a vanilla.
No.
I'm okay with those 3.
I'm with you on the double stuff. I'm sorry. I'm with you on the regular Oreo. Double stuffed can be a little much, but I'm still okay with it. You go any further than that, like with the most stuffed ones, the crazy ones, get out of here. Yeah.
And I don't want the orange stuffing in it either. It gets your teeth orange, and when they do the green stuffed ones, I don't want that either.
But with Oreo, they come out with something crazy every year that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it's like they put Pop Rocks in it and stuff like that. It's like, leave it alone.
No,
it's fine.
Exactly.
The minis, have you seen the minis?
I like the thins.
The thins are good.
The thin ones
okay.
are pretty nice.
Okay. Favorite cookie for me is just a regular old chocolate chip. Just give me the regular old chocolate chip cookies that are made by Nabisco or whatever.
Chips Ahoy, yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. They're the best. I like Oreo, but I just want a plain old the original.
I grew up, as you know, for a while in Europe, so I kind of like the butter cookies, the square ones. Those
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
those are good.
Those too.
Okay.
Pepperidge Farms, I think, would have the American version for some of those.
Another treat I'm kicking out is candy corn.
Yeah.
Candy corn does. Why are we eating wax? When did we decide we were going to eat wax?
I think candy corn's a weapon. It's not a.
You throw candy corn at people?
You can put that in a slingshot and really do some
we used
damage.
to shoot them in slingshots. Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Especially a couple of weeks after you get them. They're like hard as a rock.
I could use candy corn to hit Mike with. That would work. That would just ping off his head.
17 Keel does not encourage people to use slingshots in their candy corn.
We do not. Coming up after 8 o'clock, we're going to be joined by Justin Dixon with North Louisiana.
NLEP,
Yep.
he's the economic developer. You can like or dislike data centers. This is the guy that brought them.
Yep.
This
Big
was his
news,
job.
big investment, and expansion. We'll talk with him about that, how it came about, and what it means for us. That is coming up right here on Keel.
There she goes, our baby.
Are we ready for this?
You added her to your AAA auto policy. With 24/7 claim support, she's covered.
Our AAA agent, you're here too?
We're always here for you. Visit AAA.com/insurance to get a quote today.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Mike and McCarty. Mike is off today. My buddy Scott Hughes is in studio. And we are joined by Justin Dixon from the North Louisiana Economic Partnership. Get a little email yesterday that talked about $6 billion more.
Billion. You said billion with a B.
Coming from Amazon.
We don't play with the small ones.
On their investment in
Kidding.
data centers here. Is this $6 billion aimed at the Shreveport one on Greenwood Road? Is that where that's good? Are they expanding it? Are they making it bigger? What's the plan?
So one of the things they noticed is they're actually shrinking their footprint by about 14%.
Footprint bringing the physical size of the building.
Absolutely.
That's good for the neighbors.
Absolutely. But yes, that is $6 billion of new investment going into Resilient Technology Park.
$6 billion more to make it smaller? Help me with that.
To make it smaller? No. This is for a total of $18 billion going into Northwest Louisiana.
Okay. The $6 billion will be spent on...
Is on the construction of the facility.
Okay.
Yeah. But that also comes along with additional jobs.
Is the one at Resilient Park, which is Greenwood Road... this was already in the works. We're already working on it, but it had a little legal hiccup. Correct. Is the legal hiccup done now?
Apparently enough for them to announce that they're moving forward.
That's what it looks like.
Absolutely.
So the total investment on all three data centers in our area is now at $18 billion.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Largest project ever announced in Northwest Louisiana with 750 permanent jobs, which they are contractually obligated to pay 150% of the statewide average.
And
today, that's about $90,000.
And let me try to put that number in perspective. I think as many of our listeners know, you know this, I'm the CEO of the local realtor association. My people sell the houses. Mm-hmm. In a normal year in this community, we will sell about 5,000 houses. We will sell them at about $250,000 a home right now. The entire combined sales of all the homes in the entire region is $1.3 billion annually.
Wow.
And this man just announced an $18 billion investment, to be fair, over a couple of years. Right. It's not a one-year dump in $18 billion. It's going to be probably over 4 or 5 years.
Correct, but they are moving quickly. They've already poured concrete on the North Bossier and the North Caddo site on the first two buildings. You will see this coming up quickly. You will see buildings open and operating in 2027.
Brings me to my next point. They're working fast on two of the sites. Are we seeing tax revenues come in as a result?
That's a great question. I was with some of the officials in Bossier Parish yesterday.
And now they have one of these.
They have
Caddo
one of
has
these.
2 of these.
Exactly. Bossier Parish expects to hit their annual sales tax revenue by September of this year. So it is starting to churn through.
And you can directly correlate it with this.
Oh, I can. You know I can.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, we actually asked them what other big projects have happened in the area that could have spurred this.
I mean, they had I-20. They've had some construction.
Exactly.
That's my point with the housing. Every house sold in this community generates $1.3 billion annually. He says $18 billion. The number is dwarfing the economy when you
Back
look at
to the sales tax. Our beloved friend John Settle put an article out this morning, and it showed that Bossier Parish and Caddo Sheriff and Caddo Schools, the sales taxes are up in all but one of the taxing jurisdictions in Northwest Louisiana.
Which one's not up?
The city of Bossier City.
Okay.
But it's coming.
It's coming, right.
Yes. And the one in Bossier is not in the city. It's in
Correct.
the parish. So
Correct.
the one in Shreveport is in the city.
Let me ask you about that, because they're buying concrete, they're hiring. I mean, the supplies they're using on the construction, are they trying to buy it local? Are they trying to buy it in Louisiana, or is it mandated?
They are trying, because we are pushing them every day. You can't mandate it. It's not legal to say you have to do this here.
Okay.
But we push really hard, and not just on the buying materials, but on the contractors, the subcontractors. Over half of the contracts that were let on the North Caddo side were to local subcontractors. People that have been here. You've got Hargrove Roofing. They got the roofing contract. You got Builder Supply. They got the concrete. You got Wicker Construction. They got the water and wastewater, which is a lot. You've got several others. I mean, Linda Bernanke, Fire Tech. She got the fire suppression.
Right.
I mean, we've got people that have been here growing amongst us that are now being able to take advantage of some of these major projects.
Where are the workers staying? Are they in hotels? Are they renting apartments? Do we know? Is it kind of a mishmash of all?
Yeah. I mean, when we talked to them about it, we addressed the man camp issue early, because I know they had that over on the other side of the state. We have infrastructure to handle it. We have plenty of hotels, plenty of motels, plenty of houses, and there's been some houses purchased through this. So we are being able to absorb it, and they feel like they'll be able to absorb it with our current infrastructure, which means more sales tax.
And what they saw in Monroe, to be honest, is in Monroe, many of the vendors came in and actually bought an old hotel. Yeah. Rather than pay rent, they just came in, bought the hotel, quickly renovated it. They are a construction company, and then they're planning to use those hotels to house their workers for years, and then they'll turn around and resell the hotel a couple years. But we've not seen an overwhelming of the market yet. It has certainly improved the market. I told you we hit an all-time high for housing costs right now, and that they're seeing that in Monroe too. That ultimately, you bring more people in your community, it's going to start filling up hotels and homes.
How soon do we expect to see work start on the Greenwood Road facility, or have they already started?
So I would expect any day now.
Okay.
They don't sit around. They don't let the grass grow up under them. And so I would expect you'll see activity out there quickly, which means more jobs and more opportunity here.
That was a question of mine when we talked to previous mayors. When they do a big bond issue, the reason they don't start all the projects at once is because you don't have enough workers. You don't have the crews to come in. Are we going to have enough people to come in and start work on a third data center? Or are they going to be importing folks?
God help us if we have to have people come in here and spend tax dollars and spend their dollars into our area. Here's the thing. This is going to, and you mentioned, Scott, this is a 3 to 5 year construction period, maybe longer if we don't mess it up. We have our opportunity to have these people have a good time while they're here over 3 to 5 years and potentially relocate here after this is over. Now, if we fuss at them every day, if we cuss at them every day, and we don't provide a good environment, they might go back to where they are. But, yes, we fully expect that anybody that wants a construction job, it is out there, and we will have others coming in as well.
Can you stay with us? I want to talk about the fussing and the cussing when we get back.
Let's do it.
And maybe some other things. That's not the only thing you're working on, right, Justin?
Yeah,
absolutely. Always working on something.
He brought some secret information. Maybe we can get it out of him when we come back. 1017 FM 710 KEEL.
Stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back in studio, Justin Dixon, North Louisiana Economic Partnership. Scott Hughes in for Mike Martindale. Justin, they're meeting this week. One commissioner wants to put a moratorium on any new or any expansion of data centers. A lot of folks came out and spoke against them. The sky is falling. When's the sky going to fall?
You tell me and we'll both know. Not insensitive. Listen, it's shaking up people's lives, right? I get that. I'm sure that happened when the railroad came through. I'm sure it happened when I-20 came through. When you have development That's what happens. We know what happens when you don't have development because that's basically what happened, from about 1970 until about 2020. I don't like that opportunity. I want our kids to have a chance to stay here in Northwest Louisiana and get jobs that pay close to $100,000.
Right.
I'll take that route. People whose lives are being disrupted. Stack has cameras on their entire facility. If something is going on nefarious, either from outside or inside, they will address it.
Have they addressed the starting up work before 4 a.m.?
Absolutely. They are looking at the cameras to see what happened, and I'm not going to sit here and say some overzealous, bulldozer driver got up and fired up a little bit early. They will handle that. They're very responsive. I'll tell you this, in Bossier, they have not had one complaint. Not one complaint. Talked to their officials yesterday. Not one complaint over there. And so I certainly understand there's going to be some, problems, but they're addressing it overwhelmingly with the tax dollars and the jobs coming in. It is great for the community.
The concerns about electric rates continue to brew. Are people misinformed?
Absolutely. Amazon, the guy that spoke yesterday, Keith, he said, we are going to pay everything for the upgrades. And I'm watching it. I'm seeing it happen. They are paying for all of the upgrades, which we are all going to benefit from, making our system much more resilient.
Is part of the problem Google? Because people are Googling, tell me about history, and they're learning we used to fly prop airplanes and now we have jet airplanes, and they're not understanding what's actually going to be built in Caddo and Bossier. Is that part of our issue?
Absolutely. If you want to find what you're looking for, you can.
Has there been one built like if someone does want to Google this, because I do think that's part of the issue. I think people are trying to research. They're going to do this, and they're finding things that are 10 or 15 years old. The analogy somebody gave me is, tell me about my iPhone and I'm looking at a Razr phone as the comparison.
Sure.
Flip phone. And so if someone did want to look at this company, this type of building that's being built now, in your opinion, there may not be one, but what's the best analogy of where there is one?
So we flew up to Virginia. Obviously, everybody's heard about that. And we looked at them. They're in the middle of the richest neighborhood in the country.
And for the record, my daughter goes to UVA, so I've been through Manassas and these areas. That's why I'm asking where, because I've seen those.
One of the reporters here locally went up there and asked the neighbors around it, hey, what do you think about this? Half of them said, what are you talking about? The other half said, we never have any problems. Some of these problems, the sounds and whatnot, they came from old generation data centers. There's no problem. Everything evolves.
And you will admit some of those had issues, to be fair.
Absolutely. 30, 40 years ago, absolutely.
But these aren't those.
This is not those. This is like a college campus. I mean, that's a little bit problematic now during the construction phase. But when it's over, it is going to be beautiful. I mean, I've seen it. It's curb and gutter lined streets, beautiful landscaping. It is really nice.
Okay, so let's shift gears.
Please.
What you got in your back pocket? What else?
Always something.
What's coming?
So, I'll never give you specifics, but I can tell you we are working for companies right now, totaling hundreds of millions of dollars and hundreds of jobs that are coming here because of the data center industry. Okay? Period.
See, that's what I saw in Manassas. It's what I'm seeing over in Richland Parish. When these as big as they are really just catalysts. Is that fair?
They were a catalyst a long time ago for us. So we have SLB that we put in the GM facility, which sat empty for 12 years.
2,000 jobs? Is that where
they
they're
will be
headed?
at 2,000 by the end of the year.
And they promised how many?
They were promised 600 to begin with.
So exceeds expectations.
And then they went to another 600.
Amazon
and now they're
did
at 1,500.
that too, right? The facility?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Amazon.
Yes.
So Amazon, they came in there.
Which is a robot plant now, right? There's no humans in there.
Not one.
Which was
There's 2,000.
And that was
2,000 humans.
Another huge building built in North Shreveport that some people complained about.
Never going to have anybody there. They committed to 1,000 jobs. They are over 2,500 now.
Whoa.
Their last mile facility, which is just south of here, I think we committed to 10 jobs. I don't know why we did that. I count 200 plus cars in there every single day. Amazon has a history of under-promising and over-delivering. I don't like that, but that's what they do.
And very quietly operating with 2,500 employees in North Shreveport.
Yes, they are going, when they get all of these 750 jobs on, which will come quickly, they will be one of the largest employers in all of Northwest
When you
Louisiana.
talk about the 4 companies that you're working with that would be in support of these data centers, describe to me what kinds of companies you need to have in a community that support data centers.
We've already got them. SLB.
SLB's
That's
doing
what they
it,
do.
yep.
Fiberbond. Mm-hmm. They have 1,000 electricians that they hire over in Minden that all live amongst us here. You have Prolec GE, which puts power onto the grid. You have Sabre Industries. You have Module X. You have Gordon Inc. These companies are here and have been amongst us for years and years and years. They are all growing. They account for close to 5,000 jobs in the area now. If you've got a family member that worked at any of these jobs, you need to be happy that we're bringing more data centers here, because it's just going to be continued growth in the area.
For those people who say that they have some issues with a site, something that's going on in the site, and the folks have not been responsive, they're working to do better, aren't they not?
Absolutely. It's growing pains. It's growing. They want to be, much like you talked about Amazon, they want to be good stewards when they came here with the fulfillment center up in North Market. We had some hiccups there. We had trucks coming in and going the wrong way. That's going to happen, but they want to be good because they're planning on being here forever.
And let me ask this, Stuart, because we had Commissioner Chris Crackman on. He as always speaks his mind, and I think he is fighting for his people up on State Line Road. If someone has a problem with the data center construction up on State Line, if they have one in the future on Greenwood Road or in Bossier, I'm a believer the best place to go is probably not the public body and open mic night. Who should somebody contact if they really have a legitimate concern? Because I think that's one of the other questions. These are big mammoth companies. I can't talk to them, so I go scream at my elected officials. Who should they contact?
Right. We have websites where they can go to. We'll provide those to you.
Okay.
They have people that they are hiring. They are in the current process of hiring community engagement individuals that will be in here that you'll be able to go to. And so all of the complaints are being heard. All of the complaints are being heard.
And you're still having forums, our last minute or so, for folks who want to do business with them. You're still going to have outreach programs for local companies that want to get involved. The door's not closed on all that, right?
The vast majority of the opportunities have not been let yet. That will come in months to come. I do know that you're starting to see more and more food trucks. If you're not permitted to deliver services in Caddo or Bossier, you better get permitted quick, because that's a requirement. But they are starting to show up. They're starting to work with them, sequence them, so they can come have opportunities.
Wow.
You knocked down Libby Glass.
We're working on it.
Yes.
You come back and tell us when you got something there?
Promise.
Okay. Justin Nixon, North Louisiana Economic Partnership. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, stop. Hold everything. I just got another email. Oh, my gosh. Aaron, this is your final notice. Your voter verification is still unverified. Click here to complete your voter verification.
You better click if you want to vote this fall.
Do people click that? Do people really click that?
I mean, obviously, if they're sending them out, it's obviously working on somebody.
How stupid are we?
7 out of 10.
There's a couple things I might click on. I'm not clicking on that. Why do they think we're so stupid?
Well, one, because we generally, as a population, we clicking on stuff all the time. And to be honest, too, because there's a world being created where people want to make sure they can vote. They want to make sure they're being told voter purges. There's a lot going on in the voting realm, so I can see why that scam would work. But the larger issue is, why does anyone click on anything they don't know what it's from?
Never click on anything you don't know where it's from. Thank you.
That's correct. Especially in this case, voters never going to come by email. Nancy Landry, Secretary of State, she would tell you that. Their people don't do that. They do almost everything by mail.
Okay, I'm deleting it. It's deleted and it's gone. So, okay. I didn't click on it. It's deleted.
Yeah, I get this one, you up. You ever get that one, Ruben? I ignore that one.
It's a big scam.
Caddo Commissioner Chris Crackman, when we get back on data centers, his concerns. Is he anti-data centers? Is he a fear-mongerer? We will he'll answer those questions when we get back right here on KEEL.
Back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. Mike is out today. Scott Hughes is in for Mike, and we have a special guest on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. Caddo Parish Commissioner Chris Crackman, acting as a Caddo Parish Commissioner. Just going to throw that out there today. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Aaron, Scott. I appreciate the clarification on that.
Good morning, Commissioner Crackman.
It's going to be our little inside joke forever, as you well know. You have been, folks are saying you've been rallying against data centers. I know you want to clear that up. Are you against data centers?
No, I never said that. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure nobody from State Line Road has said that.
Mm-hmm. Your concern is for those folks that live on State Line Road whose lives are currently being disrupted, as they will say. Tell me what's going on up there for those folks who live in your district.
Well, they've had construction going on for several months. I mean, they started tree clearing before the announcement was even made by the governor. And so, I mean, it's the real deal out there. They have backhoes going, from, I guess some days from 4 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. So, I mean, they've got it going. There's trucks up and down State Line Road like you've never seen before.
And that's a rural area. Some of those folks have lived there for decades, and it's been a quiet rural area until now.
Absolutely. And, it's like I said the other night, you have one family out there, the Bison family, that's been out there for 119 years out in the middle of the woods. They, that's their family legacy plot. They have a family cemetery that's an eighth of a mile up the road. I mean, they've been there for a very, very long time, not expecting anything like this. And so, my job, of course, is not only to boost economic development and welcome jobs and all this other. I also have to, advocate for the few folks that are out there too.
And Chris, and I appreciate that, because as I've watched this debate, I see three distinct areas of concern. One is what I'll say is I don't like data centers or billionaires. That's there. There are those people. There seems to be another group of people that doesn't like government, and especially the NDAs. And we can have that conversation. That's fair. But there's this third area. I think it's who you're representing. It's the actual physical impact of building something in a community. And I think that has exposed not land use, not zoning, but just reality of construction. What does the parish have out in the unincorporated area to control this? Can somebody run a construction yard 24 hours a day? What rule or law have y'all found? Because I think that's what your people are complaining about, that they just don't want the backhoe at 3:30 in the morning, nor would I.
Right, sure. And what we have on the books is we have a decibel level that I think I know from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., it's 55 decibels. And then from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., it's 50 decibels. And so, but they can run around the clock as long as they stay below that level. However, I don't think the beeping of a backhoe is above 55 or 50 decibels, but it's constant. It's kind of like whenever you get up on the weekend and you have that one busybody neighbor that gets up at 5 a.m. to cut his grass. Mm-hmm. It's not over 50 decibels, but it does, it makes your patience itch a little bit, And so that's what these guys are dealing with. I want to say, I saw where Mr. Bison had posted a video this morning where a generator was running at midnight last night.
There's been a moratorium proposed by John Paul Young on any new data centers. It doesn't look like the commission's going to pass that, not in resolution form, which the attorney said you couldn't do, probably not in ordinance form. There's discussion that you couldn't even do it unless you did a master plan, a study for a master plan. Would you support that master plan for the rural parts of Caddo Parish?
No, I wouldn't, and I don't support zoning out there. Planning maybe, but not zoning. The master plan does encompass the entire parish. It just doesn't hardly mention rural Caddo Parish because there isn't planning and zoning. But I do think it's important to note that we do have police powers where it concerns the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens out there. It's no different than the property standards we have. And it's curious to me, I've gone rounds with our attorney and our former assistant attorney, Bernstein, about this very thing. We can control things by ordinance And, back whenever we started talking about this, or I started talking about this in December, it was said to be premature. We don't even know what this is. We don't know it's coming. Well, I don't think that's true. I don't think everybody on our body was clueless about this project. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a tax initiative that came up on December 4th. But, the biggest thing that I came on to talk about is, the word misinformation. I am so tired of being, accused of spreading misinformation and, almost like it's a conspiracy, like I'm going out here and warning people that if you're next to this data center, it might make your babies born naked.
You're being called a fearmongerer by some.
Right. And I heard that on this show yesterday, a fearmonger. I would appreciate some of these folks to, prove it. Where have I fearmongered? Where have I put out any misinformation? Where have I put out anything other than the concern for the few citizens that are out there? That is a deep concern of mine. And the fact that we're ignoring that we have police powers really irks me, because this could have been mitigated long ago. But I fear, and I could be wrong, I fear that NDAs held people back from saying that they knew about this project, to where we could have put something in place to mitigate these issues for these folks.
Well, and Chris, I want to make it clear, I hear you, because that was my point a second ago. As I've watched these debates from afar, I've clearly seen those three camps. People that are just against data centers and what they represent, people that are concerned about the NDAs, and now this third area of, okay, they're coming. Let's deal with the physical reality of noise and construction and traffic. And I'm afraid that those citizens who, in my opinion, are the most affected. If you live in the shadow of one of these, you are going to be affected. I've been over to Richland Parish. I've seen what's going on. I have realtor friends over there. And I think that we are not hearing that crowd right now, because the noise of the other two crowds is so loud, trying to just stop them, that we're not actually paying attention to the people that are saying we're not necessarily opposed to them, but give us some decency, give us some ability to sleep. And so on the police powers, Chris, who would enforce those? Would that be the sheriff in the rural part? What's your understanding?
Sure. It would be the sheriff in correlation with the Caddo Parish Commission. But, and the narrative that I have heard this week overwhelmingly is that, this is a temporary nuisance for the greater good. Well, I mean, whenever we talk about, or we compare this to like frac units, frac units run for 3 to 4 weeks, and so in some cases it's unbearable sound. We're talking about a construction site that admittedly is going to run 5 to 7 years, 10 years at the most. That is not temporary. That is a huge issue for those people.
One more thing before we let you go in our last minute. We did get good news, some would say, from Amazon yesterday, in that they've bumped up their investment locally from $12 billion to $18 billion, and it means more jobs. Do you feel good about that they are going to pump more money in our area?
I don't know how to feel about it either way, because, look, until we promulgate rules for these specific things, we're going to see them grow. They're going to run as fast as they can to build as many of these things as they can, so long as we're rolling out the red carpet. And I know people want to talk about Calumet and KCS. Listen, Calumet, that place has been there since 1920. It was acquired in 2001. It was dedicated in 1950. So the question I have is, what came first, the railroad or President Young? Let's get real about this. This is a real issue. We do need mitigation. The assistant administrator of the parish told me Monday night after the meeting that STAC has submitted a noise mitigation plan. Well, by God, I want to see it. I want to address these issues. I'm tired of all the fear-mongering and all the talking points and all that, when all I'm doing is my job.
Chris Crackman, Caddo Parish Commissioner. Thanks for your time, sir.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank y'all.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
We We are back. Mike is out today. My buddy Scott Hughes is here. I cannot let you go without getting into politics. Your political analyst hat now. Got an email yesterday from Stormy Gage Watts, a candidate for mayor of Shreveport, saying that she has been endorsed by Sheriff Henry Whitehorn. I was kind of surprised. How surprised were you on that one?
I think I told you in the earlier hour, on a 1 to 10, that's actually a 10 for me.
Whew.
I was shocked for two reasons. Number one, many of us, to be fair, and many of us don't see Stormy as one of the major candidates in this race. We were surprised she announced. We were surprised she filed. So to see the sitting sheriff endorse her, it really jumped on my radar. And then to also be fair, the second part is the sheriff's not one that really you see out a lot. I think Henry is doing a good job, a quiet job, but we really haven't heard from the sheriff in a year.
Kind of staying in his lane.
And he doesn't come out and endorse all these candidates all the time.
Right.
He's doing his job. And so out of the blue to endorse a candidate that many of us don't think is a major candidate, it's a political shot across the bow. Because last week...
Against a sitting mayor.
Against a sitting mayor, number one. And then last week we saw what we think is probably the top Democrat in the parish. I think Sam Jenkins personally endorsed Tammy Phelps. So now we have the double primary that I'm kind of looking at. They're not officially primaries. Everyone runs on the open ballot. But you kind of now have this John Paul Young, Tom Arsenault fight over here, maybe on the Republican side. And now you clearly may have a two-horse race on the other side with Tammy Phelps and Stormy Gage Watts.
How big is this in terms of does this push Stormy Gage Watts up closer to Tammy Phelps now? Is it that big?
I think it's that big because I think one thing it does is it does give some people pause. It gives some people that say, oh, well, maybe we were in for Tammy. Maybe that's our candidate on this side of the ballot. Now maybe at least you pause enough. I mean, I said this earlier. I'll say it again. It makes me pause enough to want to know more. It makes me want to ask Sheriff Whitehorn why.
Right.
Explain it. Is there more there? Because so far we haven't seen any semblance of a campaign, of support, of money, but yet this endorsement. It makes me ask why.
Okay. That's interesting. Another political note, there was the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association had the district attorney candidates in last night for a forum, and only two of them showed up. Seabaugh was there, and I think Pat Gilley was there.
Alan Seabaugh and Pat Gilley, two of the candidates showed up. We don't believe Lauren Ray Anderson was present, and we heard that the sitting incumbent, James Stewart, sent a surrogate in his place.
Right.
Because we know he was over at the Huntington Forum.
Okay.
Which to be fair, the other three obviously weren't at that forum to our knowledge.
Right. So I was a little wondering why we put a surrogate up on stage to answer questions that you want to hear from James Stewart on.
And I think that's your and I's concern. Not that you send someone representing the campaign. Hey, you want a yard sign? You have some questions? You want to get our mailing list? Come see Bob over in the corner, whoever it is.
Right.
But when you put someone on the stage and they're going to answer like the candidate, I think you and I have a concern about that.
Yeah, I do. And it may have been that you said they had the Senate candidate scheduled for last night and they changed it to the DA
My
candidates.
understanding is, and let's be fair, Broadmoor does and has long been one of the best civic engagement forums in this city.
You bet.
And so my understanding is they were trying to get the U.S. Senate candidates, in this case, Letlow and Jamie Davis. They were unavailable. That race has just gone quiet.
Yes.
Although interesting polling out in that race.
I saw that, yeah.
We'll talk about that a different day. But that race was not available. So then they scrambled and got the DA candidates to come in. And then, as you and I now fully understand, there may have been some competing forums last night.
Stewart may have already committed to the Huntington event.
And again, no problem with that. No problem with sending surrogates. It's just I always have a problem with letting someone else answer a question that the candidate should be answering.
Yeah, I got you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.